Have you ever wondered how a simple spreadsheet program became the backbone of financial analysis, data management, and even a tool for some of the world's most ridiculous memes? What if I told you that Excel has a history filled with unexpected twists, questionable design choices, and enough drama to rival a soap opera? Buckle up because we're diving into the wild ride that is the history of Microsoft Excel. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, let me ask you a few questions. Have you ever cursed at a formula that just wouldn't work? Or found yourself lost in a sea of cells? Wondering how the heck you ended up there? And what about that time you accidentally deleted an entire worksheet? Yeah, we've all been there. Stick around. I promise you'll feel a lot better about your Excel struggles by the end of this video. Let's rewind to the early 1980s, a time when leg warmers were all the rage and computers were still the size of small cars. Enter Dan Bricklin and Bob Frankston, two MIT whizzes who were about to change the game forever. In 1982, they created a little something called VisiCalc, the first spreadsheet program that turned the world of accounting on its head. Imagine a time when people were doing their calculations on paper. Yes, actual paper. VisiCalc was like a magic wand for accountants, allowing them to create complex financial models with just a few keystrokes. But it wasn't perfect. It had its quirks, like crashing at the most inconvenient times, which sounds eerily familiar to anyone who's ever used Excel. Fast forward to 1985, and Microsoft decided it was time to jump on the spreadsheet bandwagon. They launched Excel for the Apple Macintosh, and it was like watching a toddler take its first steps. Adorable yet shaky. Excel wasn't an overnight sensation, but it had one major advantage. It was user-friendly. While VisiCalc was a bit of a dinosaur, Excel came with a sleek interface and features that made it easier for the average Joe to navigate. It was like switching from a clunky old bicycle to a shiny new sports car. But don't get too comfortable. Excel was about to go through some serious growing pains. In 1987, Microsoft released Excel 2.0 for Windows, and suddenly the spreadsheet world was turned upside down. It was like the dawn of a new era. Complete with flashy graphics and the ability to create charts that didn't look like they were drawn by a toddler. But here's the kicker. While Excel was gaining popularity, VisiCalc was slowly fading into obscurity. It was like watching a once popular band struggle to stay relevant as new artists took the stage. And let's be real, no one wants to be that band playing to an empty room. Now let's talk about the 1990s, a decade that brought us grunge music, questionable fashion choices, and the birth of Excel's most iconic features. Excel 5.0 hit the market in 1990, introducing the world to macros. Suddenly, users could automate repetitive tasks, which was a game changer for anyone who had ever spent hours entering data. It was like giving a superhero a new power. Suddenly, they could do things faster and more efficiently. But with great power comes great responsibility, and some users quickly learned that macros could also be a double-edged sword. Ever accidentally run a macro that wiped out your entire spreadsheet? Yeah, that'll teach you to read the fine print. By the time Excel 97 rolled around, Microsoft was ready to unleash a beast. This version introduced the infamous Office Assistant, better known as Clippy. Now, Clippy was supposed to be your helpful sidekick, but let's be honest, he was more annoying than helpful. Picture this, you're trying to concentrate on a complex financial model, and suddenly Clippy pops up asking if you need help. No, Clippy, I'm good. I just want to finish my work without your unsolicited advice. Clippy became the poster child for everything that could go wrong with user assistance, and thankfully he was eventually put out to pasture. But his legacy lived on, reminding us that sometimes less is more. As the years rolled on, Excel continued to evolve, adding features that made it a powerhouse in the world of data analysis. The introduction of pivot tables in Excel 5.0 was a game changer, allowing users to summarize and analyze large data sets with ease. It was like giving users a magic wand that could instantly conjure insights from mountains of data. And let's not forget about conditional formatting, which allowed users to make their spreadsheets look like a rainbow exploded on their screens. Who knew data could be so colorful? But with all this power came a learning curve. Excel became more complex, and users found themselves navigating a labyrinth of features and functions. It was like trying to find your way out of a corn maze while blindfolded. And don't even get me started on the formulas. If you've ever tried to figure out the difference between VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like trying to decipher ancient hieroglyphics while someone's yelling at you in a foreign language. Then came the 2000s, a decade that saw Excel become a household name. Businesses across the globe were using it for everything from budgeting to forecasting, and it was quickly becoming the go-to tool for data analysis. But with great popularity came great expectations. Users began to demand more from Excel, and Microsoft was more than happy to oblige. The introduction of data visualization tools and advanced statistical functions made Excel a favorite among data scientists and analysts. It was like watching a caterpillar transform into a butterfly, and suddenly, everyone wanted to be a part of the metamorphosis. But let's not forget about the infamous Excel file size limits. Have you ever tried to open a massive spreadsheet only to be met with the dreaded file too large error? It's a special kind of frustration that can make you want to throw your computer out the window. And what about those moments when you accidentally saved your work over an important file? If you've ever experienced the sinking feeling of losing hours of work because you clicked "c'est bon" instead of "me as," you know that Excel can be both a friend and a foe. Now let's fast forward to the present day. Excel has come a long way since its humble beginnings, and it's now a cloud-based powerhouse that allows for real-time collaboration. No more sending files back and forth via email like it's 1990. With Excel Online, multiple users can work on the same spreadsheet simultaneously, making it easier than ever to collaborate with colleagues and friends. But let's be real, this feature can also lead to chaos. Ever had a coworker who decided to change all your carefully crafted formulas while you were on a coffee break? Yeah, that'll teach you to trust your teammates. And speaking of chaos, let's not forget about the Excel memes that have taken the internet by storm. Who could forget the classic "Excel is my therapist" meme? It perfectly captures the love-hate relationship we all have with this powerful program. Whether it's creating absurdly complex spreadsheets or simply trying to make sense of our finances, Excel has become a source of both humor and frustration for millions. So what's the takeaway from this wild journey through the history of Excel? It's a story of innovation, frustration, and a little bit of madness. Excel has evolved from a simple spreadsheet program into a sophisticated tool that's essential for businesses around the world. It's a testament to the power of technology and the human desire to make sense of data, even when it feels like we're drowning in it. As we wrap up this roller coaster ride, let's circle back to those questions I asked at the beginning. Have you ever cursed at a formula? You're not alone. Have you ever felt lost in a sea of cells? Join the club. And that moment when you accidentally deleted an entire worksheet? Yeah, we've all been there too. So the next time you find yourself battling with Excel, remember this: you're part of a long legacy of users who have laughed, cried, and occasionally thrown their computers out of frustration. Excel may be a powerful tool, but it's also a reminder that we're all just trying to make sense of the chaos, one cell at a time.